What is your reason for being in this business? I think this is always something that we need to personally assess, right? Why do we take the abuse that we do? Why do we go through this process of going into an entrepreneurial endeavor that's difficult, that has a high failure rate? Why are we here? Why are we helping these people? This is imperative, I think, regardless of where you are in your life, personally and professionally, to define with clarity what your mission is, what it is that you want to accomplish, and to help you kind of have the vision necessary to empower you through the hard times. Knowing what your why is and reminding of your why, yourself of your why, is the way to do that. It's very, very, very important. A little bit about my why. It's interesting. It's kind of changed over time. As I got in the business, my first why was not to be poor. I didn't want to, go broke or be, in a position financially where, my family would suffer and I couldn't, give them the most that I could. As I got on my feet and got better into the business, it became something more than that. Certainly had income goals along the way, which I've kind of ratcheted up, but it became less about the money and more about helping people and putting platforms together now that I've scaled to help you guys and empower you to kind of do the same thing through the process of scaling. So ultimately, I could help more people out there who really need our help. Our clients really do in the final expense world. So as you guys get up and running, if you're new to this business, make sure you understand why you're doing what you're doing, because you're going to question why if you don't. And even if you do, you're going to question. And, when you go on your 10th appointment in a row, nobody buys, right? So the more clarity that you have, the more passion that you have about this business, I think, especially clarity and why you're doing what you're doing, the more likely you're going to work through the hard parts of this business and see yourself through the difficulties. I think a lot of this business is about survival. Getting through the first couple of years are probably the most difficult. You talk to agents who've been doing this long enough. It's the first year, especially, and then to a lesser extent, the second year, where you're going to experience the most challenge, the most difficulty. And I think, the more you think about why you're here, what you're doing, and why it matters, the more likely you're going to get through some of those difficulties. So while it's important to know your why as an agent, and the clarity you need to have for going through this business and applying yourself consistently to it, it's also important for your prospects to understand their why, right? And to have and help them seek clarity as to what's important and why they did what they did. And this leads us into a conversation about what we would call stage 2, or the pre-qualifying stage of our presentation, where we help understand for the client's sake, why they did what they did and why it matters. This is the most important part of the presentation, beyond the opening of the call. Your client has to understand, and you need to understand why they did what they did. The more that you understand that, and the more they see why it's important, the more likely they're going to have the urgency, which is the important thing, to make a decision to take action today to buy. When we go through stage 2, certainly we need to know the whys we'll get into. But what we're trying to do is essentially overcome objections before they manifest in the mind of the client. What are those? So I'll ask the class, what are those 5 issues that we need to qualify our client on? Is knowing the need of the client, the desire to solve that problem today, the health, the bank account, do they have an account we can draft, and what is their budget that they know they can afford? It's all 5 of these things we need to proceed. Because if your client doesn't have need, I guess you could have somebody who just has sheer desire. But if they don't have a bank account, they don't have a budget, but they want it, they need it. Is that a client? No. No, it's not. And the sooner you guys realize this, the less stress you're going to feel. Because your time is valuable and it should be spent with what we call qualified prospects. Those are the prospects that have all 5 of these things: need, want, health, bank, budget. An unqualified suspect is the one that only has like 4 of the 5 at best, right? Either way, ain't going to buy. Low odds chance buying.